Welcome to Psycho Rift. Please consider subscribing. It's free. Thank you. Story 1. Caught her cheating on our anniversary. I'm 34 years old, and my wife is 32. We've been married for 6 years, and until last week, I thought our marriage was solid. Sure, we had our issues. What couple doesn't? But I never expected the events of our anniversary night to happen. I had been planning a surprise romantic dinner for our anniversary. I left work early, picked up her favorite wine, and got us a reservation at a fancy restaurant. It was supposed to be a perfect night. When I pulled into the driveway, there was a car parked outside that I didn't recognize. My heart immediately started racing, but I brushed it off, thinking it could be a friend visiting. I even convinced myself it might be part of some surprise she was planning for me. But the moment I stepped inside the house, something felt wrong. The lights were dimmed, and I could hear faint voices coming from upstairs. My stomach dropped. I walked quietly up the stairs, every step heavy with dread. The voices became clearer as I got closer to our bedroom. I could hear her laughing, and then I heard a man's voice respond. My heart sank. Without thinking, I pushed open the door. There she was in our bed with another man. For a second, the world seemed to stop. Both of them jumped up in shock, scrambling to cover themselves. My wife started crying, trying to apologize and explain, but I didn't stay to hear any of it. I turned around and left the house without saying a word. I felt numb, almost as if I wasn't even in my own body. I drove for hours, no destination in mind, just trying to process what had just happened. Eventually, I ended up at a friend's place, where I spent the night on their couch. The next morning, I had dozens of missed calls and texts from my wife, all of them filled with apologies and pleas for me to come back. She claimed it was a one-time mistake and that she still loved me. But how could someone make a mistake like that, especially on our anniversary? In the days that followed, I've been staying at a hotel trying to figure out what to do next. My wife is begging for forgiveness, but I don't know if I can ever trust her again. The image of her with another man is burned into my mind, and it feels like our entire marriage has been a lie. Part of me wants to leave her and never look back, but another part of me remembers all the good times we had, all the plans we made for the future. I never imagined I'd be in this position, and now I'm not sure how to move forward. Can you really rebuild after something like this? Or is it better to just walk away and start fresh? Right now, I don't have the answers, and I'm not sure I ever will. Story 2. Found out my wife was cheating through her journal. I'm 31, and my wife is 29. We've been together for 8 years, married for 4. My wife has always been a private person, and she's kept a journal for as long as I've known her. It was her way of dealing with stress and expressing her thoughts, and I always respected her privacy. I never had any reason to look at it because I trusted her completely. That changed 2 days ago. She left her journal out on the kitchen table when she went to work, which was unusual. Normally, she kept it tucked away in her nightstand. I wasn't planning on reading it, but as I was cleaning up the kitchen, the journal accidentally flipped open. My eyes fell on a sentence that froze me in place. It read, "I feel so guilty about the affair, but I don't know how to stop." At that moment, my world collapsed. My hands started shaking as I read further. The entries detailed her ongoing affair with a coworker, something that had been happening for nearly 6 months. She described their secret meetings, the guilt she felt, and how she still loved me, but was confused about what she wanted. I sat there in shock, unable to move or think. My mind was racing, and my heart felt like it had been ripped out of my chest. I couldn't believe that the woman I had loved and trusted for so many years could betray me like this. What hurt even more was that she hadn't told me. She'd been lying to my face for months, all while pretending everything was fine. When she came home that evening, I didn't confront her right away. I didn't know what to say or how to begin. We had dinner in silence, and every word she spoke felt like a lie. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her I knew everything. She immediately burst into tears, admitting to the affair and apologizing over and over. She said she never meant for it to go on this long, and that she was planning to end it. But how can I believe that? If I hadn't found her journal, would she have ever told me? Now, I'm left questioning everything about our relationship. I thought we were happy. I thought we were strong. But clearly I was wrong. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to leave her and never look back. But another part of me still loves her and can't imagine life without her. She's begging for another chance, saying she'll do anything to make it right. But I don't know if I can ever trust her again. How do you rebuild trust after something like this? Can a marriage survive an affair? Or is this the end of the road for us? Story 3. She cheated with my best friend. I'm 30, and my wife is 28. My best friend and I have been close since high school. We've been through everything together: college, jobs, relationships. He was even the best man at my wedding. I trusted him with my life, and I trusted my wife just as much. But now, I'm reeling from the fact that they've both betrayed me in the worst possible way. It started about a year ago. My wife and my best friend began spending more time together. At first, I didn't think anything of it. We all hung out together, and I was happy they were becoming friends. It felt like I had the perfect circle, my best friend and my wife getting along so well. But then I noticed that they were texting each other a lot, even when I wasn't around. Again, I didn't think much of it, convincing myself that they were just friends. Last weekend, my wife told me she was going out for a girls' night with some friends. I didn't question it, but something didn't sit right with me. She had been acting distant lately, and my gut was telling me something was off. So, I decided to drive by my best friend's house to see if her car was there. Sure enough, it was parked right outside his house. My stomach dropped. I felt like I was going to be sick. I sat there in my car for what felt like an eternity, trying to decide what to do. Should I confront them? Should I just leave and pretend I didn't see anything? In the end, I drove home without saying anything. I didn't have the strength to face them in that moment. The next day, I confronted both of them. My best friend couldn't even look me in the eye. My wife immediately started crying, saying it was a mistake and that she didn't know why she did it. They both claimed they didn't mean for it to happen and that they didn't want to hurt me. But how could they not know this would destroy me? Now I feel like I've lost everything. The two people I trusted the most have betrayed me in the worst way possible. I don't know who to turn to or what to do next. I've cut off all contact with my best friend, and my wife is begging for forgiveness. But how do you forgive something like this? How do you move forward when the two people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the most? Story 4. She cheated because she was bored. I'm 38, and my wife is 35. We've been married for 10 years, and we have 2 amazing kids together. I thought we had a good life, a stable, happy marriage, a comfortable home, and a strong partnership. But everything I thought I knew came crashing down a few weeks ago. For the past few months, my wife had been acting distant. I tried to talk to her about it, but she always brushed it off, saying she was stressed from work or tired from taking care of the kids. I believed her at first, but deep down, something didn't feel right. She was always on her phone, texting or scrolling, and when I asked her about it, she got defensive. She started going out more, claiming she needed me time or a break from the daily grind. One night, I decided to check her phone while she was in the shower. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who snoops on his wife, but my gut was screaming at me that something was wrong. I didn't find anything suspicious at first, just messages from friends and coworkers. But then I stumbled upon a series of deleted texts in her recently deleted messages. I recovered them, and my heart sank as I read through the exchanges. She had been texting a guy from her gym, someone she had mentioned in passing before, but never in a way that raised any red flags. The texts were flirtatious at first, but then they became explicit. It was clear that they had been seeing each other for a while. My hands shook as I scrolled through the messages, my mind racing. I couldn't believe what I was reading. When she got out of the shower, I confronted her immediately. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try to make excuses. She just stood there, looking at me with a blank expression, and said, "I was bored." Those 3 words hit me like a ton of bricks. Bored? She destroyed our family because she was bored? I was furious, but more than that, I was devastated. I asked her how long it had been going on, and she admitted it had been months. She said she never planned on leaving me, and that the affair didn't mean anything. She claimed it was just a distraction from the routine of our life. A distraction? We have 2 kids, a life together, and she thought an affair was the solution to her boredom? I packed a bag and left that night. I couldn't stand to be in the same house as her. I wanted to stay with my brother, who helped me process everything that had happened. I couldn't stop thinking about our kids and how this would affect them. They're too young to understand what's going on, but I know they'll feel the impact of this for years to come. In the days since, my wife has been reaching out, begging me to come home and talk. She says she wants to go to counseling and try to fix things, but I'm not sure if I can ever forgive her. Bored doesn't seem like a good enough reason to throw away a decade of marriage and hurt the people you're supposed to love the most. Now, I'm left trying to figure out what to do. I love my kids more than anything, and I want to do what's best for them, but I don't know if I can ever look at my wife the same way again. How do you move on from something like this? Can you ever really get over the betrayal? Or is this the kind of thing that leaves a permanent scar, no matter how hard you try to heal?